Hello and welcome to this video about the secret codex of the underground graffiti scene. The graffiti scene is a very close community, although it sometimes might seem that writers, so people that do graffiti, are just tagging everything and everywhere. There are actually a lot of rules within the scene, the so-called codex. If you start out with graffiti, it is crucial for you to watch this video, as I would have needed a video like this when I started. Everything I say in this video is very strict, and some rules may be a little bit more relaxed in your area, but it is best to find out by yourself and to be careful. Never paint private stuff. I remember when I first started painting, I would see every wall as a good spot to paint. But it is an unwritten rule of graffiti to never paint private stuff like houses, cars, because that's very toy. An exception to this is a wall that surrounds the property, but only if there are already some tags on the wall, because otherwise it will probably get buffed and that's just unnecessary work for you and some random guy. It is also okay to paint abandoned stuff, even if it is a car. Number 2. Never go over graves, churches and other honorable stuff. Places like graveyards, churches and memorials are places that need to get treated with respect and where graffiti just doesn't belong to. If you paint on these things, people will think bad about graffiti overall, and in the scene you will be seen as a toy. Go out and paint boring walls to make the place look better, but never holy or honorable places. Never go over better writers. This is a rule I learned by myself. Once when I painted on a legal place, I crossed a shitty chrome throw up from one of the most known crews in my city, and then suddenly a guy came to me and said that if I don't give him one burner chrome now, he and his crew will cross all of my pieces in the whole city. Sounds pretty stupid, right? I mean, it was an illegal place and I crossed a small 2-color throw up with a big full-color piece. If you only look at the graffiti world, it was totally fine what I did, but since then I am aware that successful writers often have a way too big ego, and you don't want to hurt that if you don't want to get in trouble. Never paint on nature. Simple rule, don't paint on trees, stones, etc. if you don't want to be seen as a toy. Don't be a biter. Biting means stealing the style or name of someone. It is okay to let other writers inspire you, but you should never copy their whole style. Never go over dead writers or tribute pieces. If a writer dies, you should respect him and his work, and try to make his art stay as long as possible. A tribute piece is a piece in honor of the writer, most of the times made by his friends and crew members. It's just a thing of respect, and you will save yourself big trouble if you respect it. Never go over historic pieces. Historic pieces are pieces that play a big role in the history of graffiti in your specific area. Even though the person might still be alive, it's just disrespectful to cross an old school piece, throw up and even tag. Number 8. Never go over better pieces. If you got a nice spot you want to paint but there's already a tag, throw up or piece, use this rule. Piece over throw up over tag. And if you cross someone, try to cover their piece or tag or whatever completely so it doesn't come off as disrespectful. If you know a store to wreck cans, don't overdo it. Wrecking cans basically means stealing cans from an art shop or hardware shop. I strongly suggest you to buy your cans, by the way. Anyways, if you found out where you can do this safely, don't get caught and only take so much cans as you really need, because otherwise the store might level up their security system and then you won't have the option anymore. Especially if you got the tip from someone else, treat it with respect. Don't tell anyone and don't overdo it.
Wir sehen uns draußen.
Bis gleich.
Was ist?
Hey! Ab! Haut ab!
Nimm die Tasche, verpiss dich.
Bleib stehen!
Nimm die scheiß Tasche, Mann!
Don't talk about other graffiti writers. If there's one thing everyone in the scene hates, it is snitches. People who snitch on other writers will get into a lot of trouble and every writer hates them. So never talk about other writers with the police and not even with other writers you maybe meet at the hall, because you never know if they might be an undercover cop or a snitch themselves or just have beef with the person you talk about. So don't snitch, not even if you get the light treatment by the police. Never snitch.
Herr Schubert, haben Sie noch etwas dazu zu sagen?
Don't paint trains as a beginner. It is not well seen if beginners paint trains, because nowadays the train yards are highly secure, and the more one yard gets painted, the more security will be there. That's why most yards are claimed by a local crew who manages how much this yard gets painted. If you step in the yard without the permission of the crew, you will be seen as a toy and probably get in trouble. There are also some other rules that you need to follow if you want to paint trains, like not painting the entrance and stuff like that, but those are different for every yard, and that's why I would recommend you to wait with painting trains until you know some writers in your area who maybe can help you. Know about graffiti history. This one is not a real rule, but in my opinion it is essential to have some knowledge about the history of graffiti. Otherwise, you might come into awkward situations if you talk with other writers and they mention their favorite old school writer and you don't even know them. I recommend you to watch some documentaries, watch important historic movies like Wild Style, Beat Street and Style Wars, buy some old school magazines and books like Subway Art, and I can also really recommend you to watch The Rise of Graffiti from New York to Europe by I Love Graffiti. In this series they cover how graffiti started in New York and how it got a global thing over the years. If you got any more rules that I forgot to mention, leave a comment and I will pin it if it brings value. Otherwise, I would really appreciate a like, a positive comment for the algorithm and a subscription, as this is my first video and there are waiting some great videos ahead. If you want to know more insider knowledge about graffiti, you can join my online community, Graff-Spec Crew, link in the description. There you can connect with other writers around the world. I'm still building the community and that's why the first 10 people to join it will get a discount for the rest of their life. So be fast.